Aleichem, good afternoon. My name is Jana Mazurkiewicz-Mejsarosz, and I'm the founder of the Yiddish Arts and Academics Association of North America. Our organization is based in San Diego, but I'm currently Zooming from Brooklyn. And as you know, there is a hurricane going on, so if there are any technical difficulties, we apologize in advance for all the Zures, technische Zures. Welcome to our unique event, and today we will showcase the fantastic artwork of a renowned painter, Seymour Rosenthal. As you will see today, there is a deep connection to the Yiddish language and culture in this artwork, and this is why we decided to get involved. We're honored to be joined today by Seymour Rosenthal's Mishpoche and by Leah Volinets, who initiated the whole shidduch. A großen schönen Dank to everybody involved, and huge thanks to Herman Obaldo for all his work with this event. The family generously donated the paintings and lithographs to our organization. Nohamol, again, huge thanks for this. It's a big maton, a big gift for us. And because of that, all the proceeds from the sales will go towards establishing the physical place for our organization. And that place will be called Yiddishland, California. I have to also say that that place, that physical location, will be also an art gallery. So this event is just the beginning of the new chapter for our organization. Now, if you are interested in buying the paintings and you don't know if that a donation that you'll be doing to our organization is tax deductible or not, the best way to proceed is to contact your accountant or tax advisor, and they will tell you exactly, because we are approached a lot with this question: is tax deductible or not? And this is an individual thing. The best thing is to ask your accountant or tax advisor. Today's event is geared towards making an acquaintance with Seymour Rosenthal's artwork. If any of the lithographs or paintings grab your attention, please visit our website, yiddishlandcalifornia.org/auction. Again, yiddishlandcalifornia.org/auction. You can also call us at 619-719-1776. Again, 619-719-1776. Or email us at info@yaana.org. 3 A's there. So info@yaana.org. And we will provide you all the information about shipping, and we will also tell you how to purchase the artwork. Well, we have many fantastic guests today, so without further ado, I'll give voice to Leah Volinets. Adam, thank you so much. Can you unmute, Leah, please?
You hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I am so excited and so thrilled to be able to introduce these people to each other. The family, the family, Jana and her organization, and of course my participation in things that have to do with my feelings as a second-generation Holocaust survivor, second-generation child of Holocaust survivors. So this combines everything. It combines the love of art, the love of what he represented, the love of what his grandchildren and his family represent, what Jana is representing. So there's lots of people here with us that we cannot see. And the way that I found this wonderful organization was actually online, because somebody, his aunt, I believe was Carol, posted something about the Seltzer Man. And I see this fantastic picture about the Seltzer Man and immediately go back to my childhood, of course, and remember when the Seltzer Man came to deliver seltzer to my house. Walked up, schlepped 6 flights of stairs with the seltzer on his back, and would ring the doorbell and yell, "Seltzer!" And my father would say, "Schrei nicht, the Kind schluft," which means, "Don't yell, the child for sleeping. But of course, he did that the same thing next week. So that was the way it was, and that's the way I found the Meltzer family. That's the way I found Seymour Rosenthal. That's the way I connected you with Yana. So again, this is a gift from a lot of people and a lot of things. I wish everybody here to have a wonderful afternoon and enjoy the artwork, and make sure to buy something.
Thank you so much. And now let's hear from Lenny. Please unmute.
The cardinal sin of Zoom, I forgot to unmute. Hi, everybody. My name is Lenny Melzer, and I am Seymour Rosenthal's youngest grandchild. And it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be a participant and to provide any insight that I can about Seymour's work. And I'm just happy that we've put everything together. And I'm sure my brother would say we're very excited to share the artwork with everyone out there.
Hello, everybody. My name is David Melzer. I am Seymour's grandson as well, and I'm thrilled to be part of this. I am so excited to share works that I grew up with, because ever since I was a child, many of these works have been a part of my life. And watching my grandfather paint firsthand really means a lot. It's a thrill to share it with the world.
Thank you, everybody. We'll now start presentation about the artwork. So here we can see Seymour Rosenthal at work, and he was born in 1921. He died in 2007. Let's go to the next slide. I will read you some information, biographical information about Seymour Rosenthal. He was born in the Bronx on August 14, 1921, and raised on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in New York City. He learned to interpret the world through his art at a very young age. Self-taught and motivated by the events of an ever-changing world around him, he was drawn to capture what he witnessed. Growing up as a child of the Great Depression, Seymour was moved by the hardships of everyday people seeking out ways to survive in New York City in the 1930s. Through his various sketches and watercolor drawings, one can instantly be transported back to a time and place of a city on the brink of great strife and also of great resurgence. A new focus. Drafted into the Second World War, Seymour developed an entirely different approach and motivation for his art. Although serving stateside, he made sure to bring the front lines of the war to the people of the New York City through his provocative, blunt, cynical, and at times morbidly disturbing imaginary. Within this segment of Seymour's catalog, his passion for showing the suffrage and hardships brought onto those who were unfairly born on the road ethnicity or race is clear. Both his political commentary and love of the enduring human spirit are evident. Reflection in later years. As Seymour became older, he grew closer and more attached to the religious traditions and memories that he was surrounded with during his youth. It is here when we can see the influence of Seymour's grandparents and family gatherings within his works. Many of the subjects in his paintings can be seen with bloodshot eyes, worn skin, and tired looks, as though they were contemplating the past events of their lives. Yet, despite their hardened experiences, one can still see happiness, optimism, and pride while gathering with family for the holidays or simply enjoying the gift of being alive. Although Seymour passed on December 13, 2007, his works live on in various museums, galleries, and synagogues, and on Zoom throughout the world, including the Met and the Technion Museum in Haifa, Israel. He is survived by his beloved wife, Frances, a daughter, and a son, and 4 grandchildren. So here we see his picture with his wife, Frances. And now we'll hear from his daughter,
I
Maxine.
would like to tell you a little bit about my father. My name is Maxine Melzer. I am the daughter of Seymour Rosenthal. Here are some of the things to tell you about my father. My father was born in the Bronx of New York City on August 14, 1921. In the early days, he was exposed to the Depression of the 30s and the Holocaust. My father was a self-taught artist. His drawings and paintings reflect a passion and a deep love of humanity. Driven by an inner call, his work was his prayer. His paintings were his sermons. I would like to read you a quote from President John F. Kennedy. Art is to nourish the roots of our culture. Society must set the artist free to follow the vision wherever it takes him. Art knows no natural boundaries. Genius can speak at any time, and the entire world will hear it and listen. I believe that is exactly what my father is. Thank you very much, and be well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And now we will see a few letters of recognition. And if you would like to see more and read more of those, you can find them on the Seymour Rosenthal's website. And the link is below. So here I'll just mention a few names. And then also this presentation will be available online and you can take a look yourself. So first letter is from Kirk Douglas. Next one is from Secretary to Mr. Truman. The following one is from Richard Nixon. This one is from the President Barack Obama. And these are letters from the New York Public Library. From the Museum of the City of New York. And from the Museum of Modern Art in New York. So the descriptions you will hear are corresponding to each of Seymour's pieces and have a very personalized touch because they were written by the youngest grandson, Lenny Melzer. So let's now look at our first lithograph, the bird feeders. And for each of these artworks, I will also give you the Yiddish title. So here we have the Speisers von Pickle. And I'll ask Lenny to read the descriptions for you.
Yes, I can't read in Yiddish though, so I'm only going to give you the English version. Seymour loved everything dear in this world, including nature. He would often enjoy feeding the birds with his wife, Frances, as they'd enjoy a nice walk in the park nearby their home. These were the innocent and precious moments that meant so much to our grandfather.
I'd like to add, especially growing up in the city, in the urban jungle, it was very fortunate that he had a chance to get out into what would appear to be the country, but this was just some random park in the middle of New York, and he would take homage in the innocence of nature, and it was part of his love as well.
Dank, thank you. So let's go to the next lithograph. Einkäufen für Yom-Tovim, holiday shopping.
Seymour's immigrant grandparents living in the United States are proud to be able to celebrate the holidays without the fear of being persecuted. They take a casual stroll home from the market preparing to celebrate Passover. The bottle of wine is placed on his heart, and the cherry tree signifies the sweetness of a safe life.
And my grandfather would always speak about Eastern Europe, the pogroms, where Jews would have to hide their Judaism or fear of being bullied or beat up or persecuted. And so he took much pride in being able to not be afraid to show that he was Jewish.
Thank you so much. Let's go to the next lithograph. A Sabbath piece, a Treasureseeker Sholem.
I believe the woman featured here is Seymour's mother-in-law, preparing to welcome the Sabbath. He would always tell us how he cherished the day of rest and loved to watch his family partake in its observance. Those same candlestick holders remained with him for the rest of his life.
Growing up, our grandparents would, whenever we would visit them on a Friday night, they would never miss lighting the candles. And that was a very dear memory to me growing up. Every Shabbos, my grandfather would do the bruchas, and he would do it in his own special way. And it was very, very loud and vocal and proud. And it made it more than just a serious sort of somber thing. It was a joy, it was fun. And those memories will last with me forever.
Shayna, dank. Okay, the next lithograph, the Pickle Lady, die Zojere Ogórkę Damy.
Here we can see the Pickle Lady, another of Seymour's memories being recreated. Regularly seen on the streets of the Lower East Side of Manhattan, the Pickle Lady would work hard all day trying to make ends meet.
And Seymour grew up at a time when, during the Depression, and street vendors would be all prevalent in the Lower East Side. And much of his artwork deals with the struggle, just people trying to do their best to just make ends meet. So a lot of his works, as you'll see, is focused on individual people, many of them vendors, just doing what they can just to survive and get on.
The next lithography, the Sweet Potato Lady, die Batate Dame.
Growing up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan during the Great Depression, our grandfather witnessed many people enduring hardships. Here, we can see a weathered old woman selling sweet potatoes on the street corner, doing whatever she can to help make her family make ends meet. Pieces like this would go on to be a common theme in Seymour's work.
Großen Dank. The next lithography, the Philosophers, die Philosophen.
Seymour loved capturing moments of people becoming close with their connection to God and religion. In this picture, we can see the three wise men studying the Torah, forever trying to better themselves in the ways of Judaism.
Next one in the park, in a park.
The lake in Casino Park, Flushing, Queens, was a regular place to visit for our grandparents. They loved to spend the day relaxing as they watched people enjoying themselves.
The next lithograph is titled Moshe.
Moses and the Ten Commandments always remained a strong focal point for much of my grandfather's art. The message from God was the key to all of humanity's problems, if only we followed them.
I'd like to add to this piece.
Okay, there's a lot we can say here.
There's so much with the Ten Commandments. Seymour always, this is a bit of a controversial piece because he spoke about all the time how the Ten Commandments were not being honored throughout history. And here they are for you to live a good life. But so the flames in the letters are representing, it's right here for you. Everybody can have such a great life if collectively we all just followed the Ten Commandments. And that was a big aspect of his, of what drove him. And he would always talk about the 11th commandment. And he would say, thou shalt not get caught. And that was one of the things he would always jokingly say. about the hypocrisy about the world, of how we all pretend to be good people, but he was very vocal about it.
Umein to this. Let's look at the next lithograph. Papa's World, Tate's Welt.
This is a picture of David Friedlander, my grandfather's father-in-law, a man he had tremendous respect for. In this picture, Seymour captured David enjoying himself in his favorite rocking chair while playing his violin. And it just so happens that my brother here is named after this gentleman.
I am named after this man, and my grandmother, Frances, was a great lover of music. And so my grandfather would sometimes paint things that had to deal with instruments and music, and the blend of art and music together, cherished with them for their entire lives. And that what really drove them to have fulfillment in their life.
Thank you. The next one, my father's book, my taten's sefer.
Seymour's interpretation of his love and admiration for the Ten Commandments are shown in this piece. Here we can see a man, perhaps Seymour's father, in peace and bliss as he is surrounded by the comforts of Judaism, guided by the prayers within this siddur that he holds so dear.
Thank you. The next photography, Barney's Lunch, Barney's Mittag.
While the cost of a sack of fruit is being discussed between patron and merchant, a horse named Barney, who was not privy to such details, snatches a free bite for himself.
Yeah, and I love this painting. I remember he would always talk about how just business people would bicker over the prices and negotiate and this, but the horse doesn't care about any of that. And the horse is just grabbing a piece for himself without any thought of money or anything. It's just a natural instinct to feed himself.
Dank. The next one, the Treasureseeker. Zoekending van Oitzer.
A timeless image of a homeless American citizen rummaging through a trash can, searching for anything that could be of use to her. She finds a newspaper with the caption, "Great Society."
Yeah, one of the things that Seymour really bothered him was the fact that in the wealthiest country in the world, in the greatest city in the world, there is so many homeless people of destitute. And so the newspaper, it says "Great Society." So it just shows you this soul is just searching for anything to survive, and she's going through a trash can, and that effect with him for his entire life as well.
Thank you. The next lithography, the carousel, merry-go-round.
The merry-go-round was a place of happiness in a world that was full of challenges and rough times. Seymour had fond memories of getting a chance to ride on the merry-go-round, but equally as fond were the memories of other children laughing and enjoying themselves as well.
The next one is titled The Toyman, der Verkäufer von Spielachtig.
The toy man always had a smile on his face. He would bring joy to the children of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. His balloons always had something positive to say, regardless of how difficult the times were. Seymour would often remind his family and friends that these hardworking people were happy to be alive and well, despite working hard and being paid small.
Thank you. The next painting is the watercolor, and it's titled The Butcher, der Katze.
One of the many people my grandfather would interact with, the butcher, was one that everyone knew. People would line up to get freshly prepared meats and poultry from the local butcher scene here. found in Seymour's stomping grounds on the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
The next watercolor is titled "The Sitting Butcher." Der Sitzendiker Katze.
Similar to the previous piece, here we see a butcher waiting for customers. We can see a freshly prepared chicken hanging, perhaps ready to be taken home for a Sabbath dinner on a Friday night. Finished in 2002, sadly, this was toward the end of Seymour's legacy. He later passed away in December of 2007.
One of the things I'd like to add is Seymour painted very detailed, and he used a magnifying glass to paint. So if you can't maybe see from the image here, but he would paint with a magnifying glass, and you would see the blood vessels in the people's faces, the wrinkles in their skin, if you really get close. And he would sometimes take months to complete a painting. He would literally maybe 4 months sometimes, because he wouldn't paint in a rush. He loved painting, and so he would take his time. It was his joy. He didn't paint just to blurt out images. He painted, every bit of his artwork was in his soul, and he took his time and he treasured every moment of it.
Mm-hmm. And we weren't allowed to just look at a painting on an easel. He would put the magnifying glass, which I still have in possession. Yes. He would put it in my hand and say, no, look at the eyes.
Look closer.
Yeah. No, Zeta, I see it. No, you don't. And you have to use the magnifying glass.
Yeah, and he would say to me, what do you think this man is thinking? Yeah. Look in his eyes. What is going through his mind right now?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you. The next watercolor's title is Making Kasha, Machen Kasha.
A woman, perhaps Seymour's mother, preparing kasha for a Sabbath dinner. Notice the candles from the previous lithograph. I have memories of my grandfather always saying how delicious the homemade kasha was. And I too have strong memories of enjoying kasha with my family during holiday parties and other family gatherings.
Well, I'm getting hungry, but let's go further. The oil painting that you're seeing here is titled The Candle Vendor, Der Verkäufer von Lichterlach.
An elderly man trying to make a living selling candles on the streets of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Seymour made it a point to capture every bit of reality and grit these people dealt with on a daily basis, as can be seen here by the old wooden box the vendor is sitting on. If you wanted to have burning candles at your Sabbath dinner, you needed to visit the candle vendor.
And it just goes to show how at this time, anybody would just, to make ends meet, they would figure out ways to sell anything. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, at one point in his life, Seymour did help sell candles at one point in his early life during that time in the 30s.
Thank you. The next painting is an original extempora, and the title is Gutting a Fish, Pripravian Fish.
The fish market was a place of great excitement and action. According to my grandfather's stories, this was a place where you could learn a lot about people. I recall him telling me stories of the people always working fast and hard, trying to clean, prepare, and sell merchandise on a daily basis. In this piece, we can see how the daily work would take a toll on the person. But what else could you do? Despite the tough working days, they were happy to be alive and making a living. And just a note on this also, my grandfather, or Seymour, had an Uncle Harry, which for any family that's listening knows the stories of Uncle Harry. And Uncle Harry was born deaf, but he used to always say the same thing, which was, that's life. That's life, Seymour, that's life. So anytime I see a painting where someone, you can see clearly the man's facial expression, he's tired, he's suffering, but what can you do? That's life. That's life. And somehow that phrase kind of justified everything. It just made sense.
Thank you. The next original watercolor is titled Moses Freeman's fruit cart, Moshe Freeman's fruit stragan.
Here we see an elderly man selling fruit in his push cart, as Seymour would often say. Mr. Moses Freeman was one of the many people who made a living selling what they could on the busy streets of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We can see the toll that a physical job has taken on this man as he clearly appears hunched over as he carries his produce. Despite the pain, he still carries a smile.
And the name of this painting, Moses Freeman, that was just Seymour's way of saying this man is living in the land of the free, and you can be whatever you want to be. You don't have to fear being persecuted, and so this man is a vendor, and that's basically what it is.
Thank you. The next original egg tempera is called Rabbi Studying, Der Studentiker Rof.
This piece is unique in Seymour's work in that it features a blend of both egg tempera and oil mediums. The subject of the piece is a rabbi deep in his studies, perhaps pondering the many questions he would have had from the times that he's lived through. Judaica would go on to be a prominent part of Seymour's work later on in his career.
And the last painting we'll present to you, also egg tempera, is titled Quitting Time, Der Sof von Arbeit.
Seymour's egg tempera paintings of the 1940s and 50s give us a unique view into what life truly was like for the working people of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. In the work above, we can see a man placing down his broom as he looks at the clock intently. Quitting time, which, as anyone in the family or who knew Seymour can say, he loved to say things like that. Even if he was, I actually have a memory of him watching me as a young child. And when, my parents came back or when Francis came back, his wife, I remember him saying, okay, quitting time, time, he can take a break. His job's over. So he used to like saying it a lot, but he used to hear it all the time in the Lower East Side.
Great, thank you everybody. And here we'll show you the last slide that reminds you how to purchase the artwork, how to learn more about it. And again, the funds obtained from this auction will be essential not only to make the Yiddishland California reality, but also to help with other projects such as Yiddish Theater Academy. And for those of you who don't live in San Diego, don't feel like this physical space will leave you out. No, we're investing in the broadcasting system. So once we have the physical space, all the events and classes we have there will be broadcast for international audience. So it's not the end of our international reach. If you have any questions at this point, we can answer. I'll allow the participants to talk. And if the family has more to share, more memories or any anecdotes, of course, everybody is curious to learn more about the painter.
This is Seymour's great-grandson, Joseph, who is named after him, actually. Would you like to say hello?
Yeah.
Say hello.
Hi, Joey.
Nice to meet you.
So Seymour's actual legal name was Joseph Seymour Rosenthal. Seymour was his middle name, but that's the name he went by for his entire life.
Play some nice.
Okay. Cool. So yes, I see a question. Of course, there are more artworks, and you will find them on Seymour Rosenthal's website. And there are more photographs of Seymour Rosenthal, and all of the details you would want to learn about him can be found on his website, as well as on our Yiddishland website. And I would like to also mention that it's not the end of learning about Seymour Rosenthal, because next week we'll start sharing the videos of the painter himself talking about his paintings. Maybe you could talk more about how these videos were found and what we can learn from those. David or Lenny, can you talk more about these videos?
I'm sorry, the videos that we showed you. I'm sorry, I was listening to something else. Yeah, the videos we have so much home footage, home videos of, you know, Seymour speaking, and we just started combing through them, and little by little we found little pieces that pertain to all of the artworks, or various pieces of the artworks. And so it was a real treasure to find, because, you know, what better way to hear somebody speaking about the art than the artist himself. So it's a pleasure to find, it's a pleasure to share. Just unfortunately, there's hours upon hours upon hours of footage that we have to comb through. So we can find more, it just takes time. But as we find more, we'll unveil them for the world to see.
Exactly. So expect to hear more from us. And for those of you who do live in San Diego, we will in-person auction on August 24th. And if you email us at info@yaana.org, or if you stay in touch through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other social media, we will inform you about the details. And again, thank you so much, and to the family. It's fantastic to have you with us and to hear from you. It's a big treasure.
It's very
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Leia, for making this happen.
Yes, thank you, Leah.
Yes, thank you very much, Leah, for helping putting this together with Yana. You're on mute.
Thank you. Yes, Leia is on mute. Would you like to say something, Leia? I wasn't sure if she wanted to.
I said, I'm glad to be the shocking to all of this. And I suppose that if I was living in the old country, that's probably what would have been my profession, you know. Like, do you have a boy for you? Or do I have a girl for you? It seems to me that I have art for the world. And my pleasure to bring everybody together. Really, it warms my heart to see. And it's just the beginning, as you say, Yana. It's just the beginning. The world will know about Seymour Rosenthal. And David, that's what we talked about when we first spoke. You want your grandfather's name to be known. Absolutely. He's already on Zoom.
He never would have thought he would be on Zoom, did he?
Yeah, so
I don't think
one step in the right direction, always.
the concept of Zoom would have been fascinating to see, you know.
Yeah.
He was fascinated at the concept of the telephone.
No, really, no. But this is this is the beginning, and it's a wonderful way. And the storm didn't get in our way, which is good too.
So we have another question: where can we view the videos? As I mentioned, we will view them on social media and on our website starting from next week. So every day we will post a different video, and you can see it on for sure on Facebook and for sure on the website. Not sure about Twitter or Instagram, but if we can't post them on Twitter or Instagram, we will just post the links to them, and then you can view the whole video through that link. Okay, if there are if there are no more questions, let's stay in touch. A großen Dank. Thank you so much. Sei gesehen.
Hi, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.